ClassJuggler has several great features to help you with your mailings. You can create mailing labels for your customers or your students. You can generate return address labels for your business, and you can even create name tags for parents and or students for special events. All of these features can be accessed from the ClassJuggler's report menu. So let's take a look at each of these reports. First off, let's take a look at the customer mailing labels report, found by clicking on your main menu, Reports, and then the customer reports from your sidebar menu, and customer mailing labels. This report creates mailing labels for a variety of predefined Avery label products. There are 22 Avery standard label forms available for you to choose from. Let's take a look at a few different types of labels. I'm going to keep this first label type, Avery 8167. There are 80 labels per page. There are some text adjustments that you can adjust to any of your preferences. You can change your font, your alignment, your style, the line spacing, and the size. There are some more report filtering options, such as only print labels for customers with balances due. You can choose your status and category and your creation date also. And there's a few additional report options, like the print 3 lines or the print 4 lines if needed, and the salutations. And then we have our test print, which we are keeping at yes for now. So I'm going to go ahead and generate this report. Alright, so this is the 80 labels per page, and we're going to look at one final one, and we'll make some changes on this one. I'm going to look at style 8162. This has 14 labels per page, and we're going to make a few adjustments here. We're going to change this text adjustment. We'll change the font just to try something different. We'll change the style to bold, the size to 16. I'm going to center my alignment, and for line spacing I'm going to put 0.28, and then I'm going to generate this report. Alright, so you can see that this is a lot larger. There's some important things to remember when you are making labels. You always want to generate the report with that test print set to yes until you have your label designed the way you want it, and that is this area right here. You want to remember to save your final design once you've tested it so that it'll always be there for you. After you get this, you want to go ahead and print it, just one page. And when you're printing your test page, you want to make sure that your printer software does not try to scale or adjust to fit the print area for your test page. ClassJuggler has the exact measurements of all Avery labels, so any tweaks by your printer software may throw off the alignment. After you print it, you want to grab a blank sheet of your labels and hold the test page you just printed behind it. Hold the pages up to a bright light so you can see the grid lines showing through the blank label page. And you want to make sure that the lines on the test sheet match the divider lines on the label sheet. You want to especially make sure to check the test sheet divider lines at the bottom of your page to make sure that they line up. This is typically where adjusted printer settings will cause the labels to get out of alignment. So once you have your labels lined up properly on your test sheet, you want to click the Save Print Settings for this label type so they'll always be there for you. Now you can print your real labels. So you want to change this test print to no, and we're going to run the same report. And here I've got all the customers in my school with a label. Okay, next let's talk about student mailing labels. Let's go back to our main menu and click on Reports again. We're going to go over to the Student Reports from the sidebar menu and Student Mailing Labels. The Student Mailing Labels report will first look at the student record to see if they have their own mailing address. If the student record has the same address as customer checkbox selected, which is the most common, the label address will pull from the customer record. The Student Mailing Labels report is identical to the Customer Mailing Labels report with the following exceptions. If the student record has a mailing address, it will use this address instead of the customer address. If the same address as customer checkbox is set on the student record, the address will be pulled from the customer record. And the student mailing label report does not include the balance option as it does on the customer mailing labels. It has its own special option for creating labels for students whose birthdays fall in a selected month. And this is a great feature if you mail out postcards to your birthday students. As a side note, there are also 2 supporting reports that can help you with identifying addresses that may be incomplete or missing before running customer or student mailing labels. These are the Customer Bad Address Report and the Student Bad Address Report. These reports allow you to identify any incomplete address in your database. You can even click on the row from the listing to jump to that record and add any missing address information that you need. So let's look at an example of a student mailing label. I'm going to click on label type 8160, and I want to limit to the birthdays in February. So I'm going to go ahead and generate my test report first. Right, this is how that will look. And then if it lines up, everything's good. I want to save my print settings for this label type, and then I want to go ahead and print my labels. So I'm going to turn my test print to no and generate the report. And here I have the 6 students in my business that have birthdays in February. So I can just take those labels off, put them on my postcards, and wish them a happy birthday. All right, next let's talk about return address labels. Return address labels are the simplest of all the label reports. Its settings are very similar to both the customer and student mailing labels reports. So we're going to click on Reports from the main menu again, and we're going to go to our Miscellaneous Reports from the sidebar menu, and then click on Return Address Labels. This report pulls the address information from your company information screen under Preferences to populate your labels. All you need to do is to decide how many pages of a return address labels to print. So I'm going to run a very quick little example of this one. We'll just leave all the settings as they are. And so I have my school and the address on all these labels, all ready to use. All right, finally, let's take a look at the name tags report. This is a very useful report for creating student, parent, or both student and parent name tags when you're having a special event at your business or at another location. Name tags are flexible, allowing you to format them in a wide variety of ways. To find the name tags report, we are already on miscellaneous reports, so we're just going to go to name tags report and click on that. The name tag report shares many formatting similarities with the mailing labels reports. There are also several special options that can be used to customize this report. So let's do an example of this one. I first want to pick my label type. So I'm going to choose 8660. And I'm going to keep the report type as enrolled students in a selected class. Then I want to select my class. And I'm going to do the Dance Ballet 1, 3 and 4-year-old class. Also, I want the customer label. So I'm going to choose Print Primary Customer Label. I also want to print last names on my labels. And I'll go ahead and generate this report as a test first. All right, so it's got student first name, student last name. Everything's lining up. So I want to go ahead and save my print settings for this label type. And then I want to put my test print on no, and I'm going to generate the report. And so I have 3 students in this class. I have Chloe Brown and then her mother, Sherry Brown. I've got Bella Hindi and her mother, Lola Hindi. And then I have Cindy Story and her father, George Story. So I've got a label for each student and a parent. Well, this concludes the webinar on mailing labels and name tags in ClassJuggler. I hope this webinar has shown you how you can use these helpful tools in your business and how easy they are to use.